Welcome everyone to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into something pretty fascinating, sitting right at that crossroads of sport, massive celebrity, and maybe a bit unexpectedly, the law,
That's right.
our focus. A name known literally across the globe, Captain Cool Mahendra Singh Dhoni.
Hmm.
Now, here's a question to kick us off, maybe one you haven't thought about. What if a nickname, something so fundamental to who we think someone is, suddenly becomes actual legal property?
It's a really interesting question, and honestly, it's the absolute core of what we're digging into today. This isn't just like a legal footnote.
No.
It feels like a really calculated strategic move by Dhoni, and it has these big implications, right? For his legacy, definitely for his business opportunities, and maybe even for how we relate to our heroes.
Exactly. So our mission here is to unpack this whole journey. How did this trademark happen? What are the immediate effects we're seeing? And looking ahead, what could this mean for celebrity branding, for fan culture? Big one.
And the timing makes it even more compelling. This is super recent. We're talking specific dates here.
Right.
The whole process started June 5th, 2025, 10:52 a.m. Indian Standard Time, to be precise.
Wow, that's specific.
Yeah. And then it all got officially accepted and published just a couple of weeks ago, June 16th, 2025. So this is happening right now. Fresh news.
It really is. Okay, so to really get why this trademark is such a big deal,
Yeah.
we probably need to go back to the beginning. Why Captain Cool? Where did that even come from?
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't just handed to him, it was earned through just legendary calm leadership. You think back to those absolutely nail-biting moments.
Oh, yeah.
Leading India in the 2007 T20 World Cup final, the 2011 ODI World Cup. I mean, millions were practically having heart attacks.
Seriously, I remember watching just the
Ugh.
tension.
And there he was, just cool, composed, making these incredibly sharp decisions under just immense pressure. That's what forged the name, that unique identity.
Mm.
It wasn't just about winning, it was how he won.
Absolutely. That unflappable thing he had,
Yeah.
like he was operating in a different reality when everyone else was freaking out.
Yeah.
But it wasn't only the on-field stuff, was it?
No, not at all. That's a great point. The nickname also really captured his off-field charisma, the famous long hair he had early on.
Iconic.
Totally. And his love for motorbikes, you'd see pictures of him just cruising around Ranchi, totally relaxed, and just this vibe he gave off, like really down to earth.
Yeah, approachable somehow, despite the mega stardom.
Exactly. So Captain Cool became more than just a cricket thing. It was like a global symbol for him, his whole persona.
So now what we're seeing is this really interesting shift, isn't it? From this organic title given by fans out of admiration to something that's now, well, legally protected property.
That pivot is absolutely key because getting this trademark wasn't like a simple fill out a form situation.
Right.
The journey was actually, you could say, a bit of an unseen battle. Behind the scenes, legally, the trademark registry, they initially raised some flags.
Oh, really? What kind of concerns?
Well, their main worry was about potential confusion. Could Captain Cool be confused with other existing trademarks? They have to make sure things are clear in the marketplace. That's their job.
Okay, so there was actual pushback. How did Dhoni's team counter that? What was this argument?
This is where the strategy really comes in. His legal team, led by Mansi Agarwal, put together this really compelling case.
Mm-hmm.
They argued that Captain Cool wasn't just generic. It was uniquely and commercially tied, specifically to Dhoni. And they backed it up. With evidence, decades worth of media coverage, proof of overwhelming consumer perception that people knew Captain Cool meant Dhoni, global recognition. Basically, they had to prove that when someone hears Captain Cool, they don't think of just any captain, they think of him, instantly.
Got it. So it's like the name gained its own special meaning purely because of him. Is there a legal term for that?
There is, yeah. They successfully argued for what's called acquired distinctiveness.
Acquired distinctiveness. Okay.
In simple terms, it means a word or phrase, which might normally be just descriptive, has become so strongly associated with one specific person or brand through usage that it now points only to them.
Right.
So for Captain Cool, they proved that you, the public, you automatically think Dhoni when you hear it. That unique link, that's what gives him the legal ownership. And that's the legal basis for the trademark being published on June 16th. It's actually quite significant for personality rights in India, where the laws aren't always super explicit on this.
Wow. That's fascinating. Okay, so the legal side is sorted. He owns Captain Cool. What does this actually let him do now? What's the commercial angle here?
Oh, it opens up a massive range of commercial possibilities. Huge potential. Think about licensing Captain Cool.
Or merchandise and stuff?
Exactly, but think really broad, not just cricket bats or pads. Imagine Captain Cool branded t-shirts, sure, but maybe energy drinks, sunglasses, maybe even, I don't know, tech gadgets. Anything associated with being calm, reliable, cool under pressure.
Yeah, you can see the potential across loads of categories.
It really expands his brand's footprint way beyond just the cricket field.
And I guess it's also about protecting that brand too, right? Not just making money from it.
Absolutely crucial. That's a huge part of it. This move protects his brand from anyone else trying to cash in on the name without permission.
Which probably happens a lot with famous people.
Sadly, yes. People try to exploit names, likenesses, famous phrases. By trademarking Captain Cool, Dhoni gets control. He decides how his nickname is used commercially. It's about protecting the integrity of his brand, his legacy, especially now he's moving beyond his playing career.
It makes total sense. Now, obviously, news like this hits the cricket world, hits the fans. What was the reaction like? It must have exploded online.
Oh, it definitely did. Social media was buzzing, and it was this really interesting mix, a bit of amusement, some surprise, but also a lot of like, yeah, that's Dhoni. Admiration.
Any specific reactions stand out?
Yeah, Harsha Bogle, the commentator.
Of course.
He posted on X, called it both hilarious and genius, and he added something like, only MSD could pull this off, which kind of perfectly summed up how a lot of people felt.
That sounds about right. And the fans? They must have had a field day.
Oh, totally. In the best way. That mix of deep respect but also playful banter. Loads of jokes flying around.
Like what?
Like, oh, is he going to trademark the helicopter shot next? Or people saying, guess we have to call him the formerly known as Captain Cool now.
Classic.
It just shows that unique connection he has. Even a former teammate, anonymously, was quoted saying something like, Dhoni always had a knack for staying one step ahead, on the field or off it. This is just another example.
So it reinforces this image of him as a master strategist, not just in cricket.
Precisely. It wasn't just a random move. It feels very deliberate.
Which leads us nicely into the deeper implications, right? Beyond the immediate reactions. What does this mean legally, culturally for the fans?
Yeah, let's unpack that. Legally, as we touched on, it's pretty groundbreaking, especially for India. Personality rights there aren't set down in strict laws like in some places. They've mostly come from court decisions over time.
Okay.
So, Dhoni getting this trademark really strengthens the idea that you can have legal ownership over your public image, your moniker. It could definitely set a precedent. We might see other big names trying similar things.
Right. You can see others thinking, hey, maybe I can trademark my famous nickname. Like, could Kohli go for Chase Master or someone else?
It's possible. I mean, not every nickname has the same level of global fame or commercial value as Captain Cool. That's pretty unique.
Yeah.
But Dhoni's case certainly shows a pathway. It gives more weight to those personality rights claims within the Indian legal system. It provides a clearer roadmap, perhaps.
But then there's the other side, the cultural side.
Mm-hmm.
This is where it gets really interesting, I think. Captain Cool isn't just his property now, is it? It lives in the minds of millions of fans. It's part of cricket history, part of the language we use to talk about the game. So the big question is, does this trademark now stop fans from using it? Like, can I still yell Captain Cool at the TV?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it points to this real tension. But Dhoni's team has been pretty clear on this.
What have they said?
They've emphasized that the trademark is strictly for commercial use, to stop other companies from making money off the name. It's not intended to interfere with how fans talk about him or express their admiration.
Okay, so it's about business use, not everyday fan talk.
Exactly. As one legal expert put it, trademarks protect commercial interests, not cultural expressions. The goal isn't to police fans, it's to stop someone selling, say, Captain Cool branded water bottles without permission. It's a fine line, though.
It really is. Balancing the commercial rights with that deep cultural meaning the name has.
Yeah, and you see that love reflected in the fan reactions to the trademark itself. His fan base, from his hometown Ranchi to his IPL home in Chennai, is just legendary.
Absolutely massive.
And for many of them, this move wasn't seen as like a corporate grab. It was seen as protecting something they also cherish. I read this great quote from a young cricketer in Mumbai.
Oh, yeah.
He said he sees Captain Cool as Dhoni's cape, like a superhero. And now Dhoni's just making sure no one else can wear it.
Wow, that's a powerful image. His cape.
Isn't it? And then a college student from Delhi described it differently, but just as emotionally. Said Captain Cool isn't just a name, it's a feeling, like comfort food for cricket fans.
Comfort food. I love that.
It shows how deep that connection runs.
Yeah.
For these fans, him protecting the name is like him protecting that feeling, that legacy.
So zooming out again, we talked about precedent in India. What about globally? Does this connect to broader trends in sports and celebrity branding? Is Dhoni a trendsetter here?
It definitely taps into a wider global trend, yeah. Athletes everywhere are becoming much more savvy about building and controlling their personal brands.
Right, we see that all the time.
Think about someone like Lionel Messi being associated with the GOAT, or LeBron James with the King. While those might not be formally trademarked in the same way, the principle of linking a specific phrase or title to an athlete's brand is similar.
Okay.
Dhoni's move is perhaps a more formalized version of that. What makes his case maybe stand out is just how universally recognized and truly iconic Captain Cool is. It had immense brand value even before the trademark.
So it's part of a trend, but maybe a particularly high-profile example because of who he is and what that name means.
Exactly. And like we said, not every athlete has a nickname that resonates so deeply or has that kind of built-in commercial potential.
True. You can't just trademark any old nickname.
No, you need that proven acquired distinctiveness we talked about. It has to be uniquely yours in the public consciousness. So while it's significant, we probably won't see a flood of every athlete doing this. It takes a special kind of moniker.
Okay, so as we wrap up this dub dive, it feels like we've really seen two sides of Dhoni highlighted here, haven't we? The legendary cricketer, the Captain Cool, but also the sharp, forward-thinking businessman.
Absolutely. Trademarking the name is this perfect blend of his sporting fame and some really astute business sense. It's about making sure his brand, that Captain Cool persona, stays powerful and relevant long after he stops playing.
Yes, cementing the legacy in a very modern way.
And it just throws that tension between commerce and culture into such sharp relief. How does something born from public admiration become a commercial asset? It's a fascinating case study.
It really is. And it leaves us, and you listening, with some big things to think about, doesn't it? How will this precedent shape the future for other athletes, other celebrities, managing their identity? And for us as fans, how do we navigate this? Our emotional connection to these figures versus the increasing commercial reality around them.
And fundamentally, what does it mean when a piece of shared culture, a nickname that feels like it belongs to everyone, becomes legally owned?
Big questions. This deep dive into Captain Cool certainly gives us a lot to chew on as we watch these relationships between fame, fans, and finance continue to evolve.